when about 1820, when the Protestants first came to introduce Western religion to a culture that is very, you know, observes nature and is a familial based culture, and practices polytheism. You know, they have so many gods, and they see God in everything. And then to understand that there's something, that a religion that came along that practices only praying to one God. And at that time, it was a very harsh time, because people were dying from things that were introduced. You know, a lot of things that were introduced was diseases, that decimated the population greatly. You know, some people estimate as low as down to at least 40,000, as low as 40,000 Hawaiians left. And then the introductions of diseases, alcohol, you know, modern religion. They took away the land-based practices, as well as introduced a monetary system that, as Hawaiians, they never quite understood, because we don't really own land. You know, we were the servants of the land. You know, so, you know, the Aina is the chief, and the man is the servant, is the thinking. But all these things really decimated the culture, because then, as colonization took over, things were taken away. So religion, land, base, the food was basically, if you're not working the land, you're not working on food, and everybody's working towards money instead of bartering. And it's all not familiar with people. So they were just highly decimated by these practices that were new to their culture. And then eventually things such as medicine, language, and hula, the dance, and martial arts, and you name it, was outlawed, because it was viewed as pagan. So the incredible thing was the Hawaiians were really intelligent. You know, they could read, they could write. You know, at one point they were 100% literate. And then, of course, through history, you know, there came the overthrow, and finally, you know, the annexation and then statehood. Well, fast forward to somewhere in the mid-70s, you know, there was a renaissance of Hawaiian culture, and that really brought back a lot of hurt that was you know, pent up by many Hawaiians, because, you know, they were taught not to speak their language. I was taught not to speak my language. I was taught not to practice. I was always questioning, why are you learning these things? You know, don't practice that, because, you know, the Hawaiian arts were looked at as evil, especially the heathens. You know, that K word. Yeah, we joke about the K word, which is the kahuna, because the only thing people knew about kahuna is that it was evil, because they could pray someone to death or look at someone and hurt them. And I think that really stuck in my mind, and I looked at the people, you know, that were hurt by it. Growing up in that time, you know, my father really was hurt and angry, because we had acres and acres of land. Like so many of our families, that was taken away, because, you know, they just didn't understand. If we give you this case of alcohol, you give us this land. Or, you know, there's certain people who needed to feed their family, give us this acre of land, and we'll give you a cow. That's just stories over and over. Because you can ask any family, everyone has a story. So I think it's difficult to talk about religion, because people are highly religious there in Hawaii. They practice, you know, they can be very devoted to their religion, but at the same time still hold on to their beliefs. And also, although they believe in Christianity, for example, one God, they still acknowledge the Hawaiian culture and the spirituality that comes along with it. If you really ask them, they'll talk about it, they'll share stories through what they were brought up with. And then a lot of the kupunas that have passed will share how they were hurt by colonization through that. But the fact is, we come from a culture that does practice polytheism. So it's easy for us to adapt another god without even thinking about it. So Western religion was readily adopted because people didn't understand in the early, 1900s why our culture was being so decimated. So all of a sudden comes this Greek god that they introduced because the colonizers were being affected by these things and by everything else. Yeah, we see the Greek mana of power that we have and the wealth that we have. But we take that and then we fast forward to today, where with the community that I work with, Hawaiians are number one, always number one. Incarceration, diabetes, heart disease, alcoholism, just homelessness. It's proportionate always out. I may be wrong, maybe we improved a bit, maybe got worse. But I work with the courts, work with the state, work with the federal, constantly talking to people. And the one thing that I noticed was that no matter what they did, nothing really worked. No matter what, because the education system teaches us to be subservient, because they were just basically teaching us to be complacent about our culture, not talking about a lot of stuff that they were teaching that was true history, but rather through the lens of a colonizer. So we basically learned a lot of stuff on how to be compliant with tourism, which is the number one product that we sell there on the road. So they train people to go and work in the tourist industry, to dance hula, to put on that smile, and to have aloha for everything and everything. And we have aloha for everyone, but what aloha is there needs to be a reciprocity when you have aloha. You need to look at someone and greet them aloha, and they need to have that reciprocity too. Aloha means unconditional. But when cultures take, it's very hurtful because we don't even know we're being robbed. And to see the families that I help that are homeless, or a lot of single parents, or one or two parents has passed or incarcerated, it's devastating to hear these stories and work with these stories and these people. So I saw that, and it's just not me, but I saw that the thing that they were missing was their identity. So they didn't really grasp their understanding of who is Hawaiian or what is Hawaiian. Because through education and familial experiences and being told for generations, don't do this, don't do that, you can only do this, you can only do that, go be a guardsman, go do this. I think it just kind of brainwashed generations. And although there are some people that I do know that have risen above it, there's a lot of people that did great, but for the most part, there's a lot of people that are still hurt by that. And they're basically enslaved. And how can you free someone that's enslaved but don't even know they're enslaved? Through colonized thinking, colonized minds. And so it's not so much about religion, but so much to the fact that they've lost their spirituality. They've lost their meaning. And we all know the way to oppress a person is not to just oppress the physical, but we break the spirit. We have total command of it. And so I've been working with people for a long time. A lot of them have lost their spirit. So they've lost their identity. And so I've created programs that give them back their identity on who they are, be proud, and say it's okay. So we teach them arts of healing, how to heal themselves in the work of healing others. And then they learn how to pray. And not just give them the prayers, say this. I teach them how to pray. The proper way. I teach them that, that being angry and jealous is not the way of our human, but rather on how we understand that we are, we were once warriors as well. To have that fighting spirit, to fight our opponent, that is what it right. And so, I've learned all these things, the process of healing and stuff, and I've shared it with the community. And so we uplift them, we teach them the skills, and Auntie Verna has been a part of that too, as well as Uncle Bruce and also Emily. And we have numerous students on the island of Hawaii and throughout the islands. But this is all our traditional practices that has risen, helped them rise above their lives and get over alcoholism, drug use, and the anger that they feel, because now they learning what the culture is about and practice their culture openly and not be afraid, ashamed of it. And they can claim their culture as well as bring back their identity and self-esteem. And let their anger go, because the people that are angry, they don't even, it's been so far removed, they don't even know who they're angry at or what they're angry about. They just know that they were told they're angry. And even within the Western institutions, they teach all this history that really gets you angry, but there's no solution. And so, I've tried to develop, work with the community to help teach them healing arts and understanding on how to let go of clear the path that we said with the prayer, and to teach them these ways to see things differently from a different perspective, from their view, from a Kanaka or a Hawaiian view, and become who they are the best they can be. But it's actually a lot more complicated. I hope I portray at least what's in my mind, which is usually scattered.
Mahalo, Sensei. Thank you. And